Welcome to the 544 podcast. We're your hosts.
I'm Bill Isber.
I'm Justin Libertor. He's the 5. I'm the 44. And we're coming to you each week at 544 on Fridays. So since the last week, Bill, any big things that have gone on?
Had a nice little weekend in North Carolina. I think you're familiar with.
Yes. Yeah. That was a good time.
We were away at a wedding with one of our close friends. Their son got married, so got to spend time with them and a little time on the beach. So it was a nice getaway, nice short getaway.
Yeah, crazy that like one of our friends has a kid that's getting married, right?
Yeah.
I mean, makes you feel a little bit old.
Yes,
definitely.
I mean, not
every day, but
every day.
Right? Not as old as that guy, but yeah.
Well, obviously.
Now, I had to head back early for homecoming, but how was the beach day the next day?
It was excellent. The sun was out. People were out. We did some boogie boarding, played a little beach golf.
Nice.
Played a little 2-on-2 football, actually.
Yeah.
So it was good. We had a couple different random teams pick up and play. So it was good. The young bucks are definitely young, and we're old again.
I was just going to say, I'm sure those young guys were showing off a little bit.
They were running all over the place. And
right. Yeah.
First game of golf, beach golf, which is kind of like cornhole, but with golf balls.
Right. Yeah. You did little things.
I was thrown against through 4 ringers right in the hole.
The guy you were throwing against?
The guy on my side. He's like, I never played this before. Throws 4 in a row.
It's easy.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do this all the time. Great. Thanks.
That's fine.
Needless to say, we lost that game too.
Yeah. How were the waves after like coming through the hurricane and that kind of stuff that came up? Were they pretty awesome?
Really good. Actually, yeah. It was pretty epic. We were worried about having our son go too far out because it sucked away.
Right. Yeah.
So we kind of stayed like waist deep or shallower. So, but it was good. It was good. Yeah.
I feel like that's the first time I'm at the beach when like a hurricane or tropical storm was coming through and us actually being done. Like it was a little bit crazy with the rain coming sideways and stuff on Saturday morning. Was a little nervous for the wedding, but
I'm glad I wasn't out like taking a walk or anything during the rainstorm.
Like I don't know who would go for a walk in that.
If
you have a scooter, you probably can move around faster. But
that's true. It would get you through the raindrops faster. But we did walk out on the pier.
Yeah.
During the wind a little bit. It was pretty crazy. It was swaying, so we were getting a little freaked out. We like ran off the pier. Like that's enough. We got one like selfie, and we're like, all right, we're out in the hurricane. See ya.
Let's post this. See ya out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. See ya. Time to get back in. So yeah, it was a great weekend. Great weekend away. With that greatness, there was some tragedy though too.
Yeah.
The Kembe.
Yeah. No. Man. R.I.P. to Kembe Mutombo.
R.I.P. to Kembe.
Yeah.
The all-time hits leader.
So he was only 58. I mean,
yes,
he was young.
He was.
So I looked this up. So he had the most block shots in his career of all NBA players other than one. Do you know who that one was?
I'm going to go with Bill Russell.
No, actually, it was more of our era. It would be more like of the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. It was right around like that same time as him. Nope. For the Rockets, I want to say.
Hakeem the Dream.
Yep. Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. That's the only other one that he had. So I was like looking up some stats for him today because I mean I just remember like watching him and just how like I mean you couldn't get a ball past him.
No.
I'd just be like,
the finger wag.
Yeah, the
he had
finger
some great
wags.
commercials afterwards.
Yeah, he was amazing. So he played for the Nuggets, Hawks, Sixers, Nets, Knicks, and Rockets. So he played for like a ton of teams.
I didn't know he played for that many teams either.
I didn't either. Like I probably remember the Hawks more than Nuggets. I feel like I don't know. I always feel like picturing him in that Hawks uniform.
Yeah,
as opposed to the Nuggets. But he went to the Nuggets first. That's what he came out on.
Really? No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Great player. R.I.P.
Yep.
Gone too soon, obviously.
Yeah.
Question: should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
You know, I was doing some research on that, and R.I.P. Pete Rose. So like I get the gambling because I was starting to think about that. Like as a player, as a coach, I mean, you should be allowed to gamble. You should be able to like live your life and gamble. But I guess when you're gambling on your own team, that's where it gets a little questionable. Now, if you're gambling and you're betting for your team, why is that bad? Like if if I'm betting like we're gonna win, isn't that like confidence? Like I'm putting $1,000 that we're gonna beat these guys, right? Like
that's from what I remember. That's what he was always betting, that they always won.
Right. He wasn't betting against his team. Like if you're betting against your team, then you can then that's a slippery slope, right? I mean, it's like the whole the Black Sox 8 men out, like that whole thing back in the day, like how they were throwing the World Series, throwing the games, like things like
Yes.
that. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, and like sports betting now is like so prevalent.
It's a $1 billion business,
Yeah,
and
it's
yet
like legal. It's legalized.
it's almost hypocritical a little
But
bit.
like players, like I was doing some research because I was like, I knew we might talk about this. So like players are allowed to bet on anything other than their game they play. So if I'm an NFL player, legal sports game, I could bet on baseball, basketball, hockey, NCAA, anything other than NFL. You cannot bet if you're an NFL player or coach or anything like, and that's with every league. Like I read through like all of them. So basically, every league has that same kind of rule: is that you're allowed to bet on other sports, just not sport.
I did not know that. I thought you were not allowed to bet at all.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought like, man, that would stink. Like you can't like do any betting, but you're allowed to do anything other than that. And then also like, I was thinking like fantasy football. Like if you're like a football player, like it'd be so cool to do like fantasy football. They're allowed to do that as long as it said something like not those like big sports like you go on like FanDuel and like play for millions of dollars. Like you can't do that kind of fantasy football. But if you have like your own league and your friends and something like that, it said you couldn't win like cash over $250. So if you're just doing something fun with your buddies and something like that, like, as long as it's just like a friendly thing, it's not like an illegal kind of thing. I think they're allowed to do.
Well, that's cool. Didn't know that either.
Yeah. I did a lot of research. I knew we'd have a big show, some things to talk about.
I see.
So
Way to prep for the show. Good job.
Yeah, I'm all about being prepared.
I just show up. I'm just happy to be here.
Hey, you're the looks, so you're just a kid from McKeesport.
Sex sells. I mean,
great.
And then there was another celebrity death this weekend.
Yeah, you mentioned who was that?
I believe his name is John Amos.
Okay.
Who was the father, Mr. McDowell, from Coming to America.
Right. Not King. Yeah, not the king.
Right.
His father, the girl's father.
Correct.
They had McDonald's. We have McDowell's. Sure. They got the golden arches.
We got the golden arcs.
We have the golden arcs, right?
We both have 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, and cheese.
Yeah.
But they don't have the sesame seed bun.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was in like a sports movie too. There was like some sports movies I remember growing up. He was like the coach. He was like training some guy. It's called like the All-American Hero or All-American. There was something in this. Yeah, it was like a crazy movie. I remember he got like shrunk at one point. He's in somebody's purse. Like I'll have to look it up. It was a crazy movie, but I just remember like my brother and I used to like watch it all the time. We thought it was awesome.
That's awesome. I never heard of it. I'll have to...
something. He was something on track and field or something like that. He was
okay.
Kind of track and field coach, but
I have to go back and do a deep dive on him too.
I'll have to deep dive that one, but I do remember him being like a coach in that movie.
All right, cool. Yeah. But I think you had a pretty good quote earlier. Would you say it was it was like a coming?
Oh yeah, I said it was like a Coming to America reunion up in heaven, right?
Yeah, that's what
dads. Yeah.
Yep. Two dads. Yeah.
Nice.
So Eddie better watch out.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just before our guests start to log in and join us, I want to give a quick shout out. We were supposed to have one of our guests this week was supposed to be scheduled. He had some medical issues that came up. So just a shout out to Raheem Allen. I'm thinking about you. Hope for a speedy recovery.
Yep.
And we'll get you on the show when you get better and you're rested and everything. And hope for, like I said, speedy recovery.
Yeah, we'll get you back on, Heem. Yeah, speedy recovery. Thoughts going to you, bud.
Cool. Cheers, Heem.
Yeah, cheers, Heem. What you drinking there, Isber? Let me guess. Bullet still?
I'm pushing for the sponsorship.
Eventually somebody is going to watch from Bullet and they're going to sponsor us.
They're going to, maybe give us some free bottle or something.
At least a bottle or something like that.
Yeah. What do you got?
I went with the Icy Light can. It's the old Pirates one. Now, even though Bednar sucked, I just thought they were kind of cool cans. So I'm an Icy Light guy. So I figured end of the Pirate season wasn't that good. 76 and 86, last in the NL Central. So
they did
thanks to them, but
Rowdy Tellez dirty.
Yeah,
didn't get his bonus.
Typical Pirate stuff. Though.
Typical Pirates.
So even then, kind of like bittersweet though, like the end of the baseball season. My brother does this pitchers poll every year. So it's in like the 51st year of the pitchers poll. My dad started it with his buddies a long time ago when it was like paper and pencil and like sending in cash. Now my brother's got it digital. It's on a spreadsheet. Excel.
Yep.
Get in every year. Probably have been doing it for 30 years.
So let me ask you, what is the pitcher's pool?
So the pitcher's pool, good question. So you pick 5 pitchers. It's a pretty simple concept. Pick any 5 pitchers. You build the best record over the whole season. So the total wins of the pitcher. So you're going for total wins. You want your best pitchers, guys that get the most wins for the whole baseball season, basically. And like typically, if there's 20-game winners, like there have been years with like the Braves got like there's been guys that had like 20 games, so you can only pick one on your team. Recently, it's been rare for somebody to get a 20, like having multiple 20-game winners. So if they have 20 games the season before, you can only have one on your team, so you don't like stack your team. But you can have the same team as anybody else. It's not like a fantasy draft. You just pick any 5 you want. You put one team in for a certain amount of money. You put 3 teams in. So I think it's like 1 for 25, 3 for 50, or something like that.
Yeah.
I usually put 3 teams in, just randomly try to pick guys, and they're always awful. Like last year, I think I had like 40 wins. Like I was like bottom of the barrel. It's just every year, it's like you see these guys, they're always winning. And this year, I won like first time history. I won the whole pitcher's pool.
How many people too? It's got to be a couple hundred.
The pot was $1,000. So I mean, like first place was 1,000. I think second was like 275 and 100 for third. So I mean, there's a good amount of people in there.
That's a nice little win, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty big. Like I said, my name's never even on the emails typically. Like I don't even see like Jay Lebo anywhere on any of the emails. And like the first time was probably about a month ago. I was like, all right, I'm creeping. I'm getting there. Yeah. And then there was like 2 weeks left in the season. Like I was in the lead. Like I was shocked. And like I texted my brother, I'm like, are you sure you did the math right? Like, is that really happening? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's legit. And he was like, and there's only 2 weeks left. He was like, that means these guys are only going to pitch maybe twice. Like you have a pretty good chance of holding on. I had like a four game lead on everybody. So nice. End up with 78 wins. So I was like, I went from like worst to first, man. It's like record ever.
I think you're on kind of a hot streak, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I won the PS4 from the Tiger Golf outing. So got a new PS4. So that was pretty cool. Or was it PS5? PS5, I think.
Sure. The pitcher's pool?
I didn't get it yet. Whatever the newest one is. I still didn't get it yet.
Did you even contact anybody about getting it?
What's that?
Did you even contact anybody?
Mills actually dropped it over at my dad's, so I'll probably pick it up whenever, like, I head over to the game for Friday for, like, our championship game thing. I'm going over to my dad's. I'll probably pick it up then from him. So I think it's a PS5. I think that's the newest thing. Cool. I don't know. My kids are older. They don't play that stuff, so I don't.
No, right.
I'll probably just sell it. So anybody's watching this, anybody's looking for a PS5, hit me up, put it down in the comments. I'll get in touch with you.
Make you a good deal.
Yeah, I'll make you a good deal. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
although college football NCAA 2025, I think, is out and finally re-released. So I want to hold on to that.
That's
to make a whole 94 state championship team again.
Yeah, you can sit there and build it. How long does that take? You just build the uniforms.
Like 8 hours.
Yeah. Shout out to Derek for spending like 10 hours making the Tigers uniforms back in the day. What's up? Looks like our first guest joining us.
What's up, rats?
Can you hear us, bud?
I have a little technical difficulty here.
It's all right.
I can hear you now, guys. What's up?
What's up, rats?
Just chilling, baby. Chilling.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you see my head? Or is my good?
Yeah. Your face is in. You're good. You're not
all right.
You're not Miller.
Yeah, I saw Just G. He was kind of like from here to
he was doing real close. Yeah.
He just might be a close talker. I don't know.
Yeah. So what's up, man?
Hold on. Let's get you a proper introduction here. So we have you on. So from our 1994 state championship team, number 87 tight end, Mike Ratesic. Get you a round of applause here. Ready? Hold on.
Thanks for drinking. Here.
Yeah. What you
drinking, Rats?
So I am drinking some leftover bourbon from an event we had last weekend. So, it's good.
What was that event?
Yeah, what was that event?
My oldest, my son got married. So we had a little bit of the booze left over. So that's what I'll be taking in tonight. So
I'm sure there's a little left over. You don't have any more of that wild Irish rose by any chance, do you?
No, I think that went quick. That was the first thing to go, actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That was a hot item at the bar. So.
Yeah, it was.
And word, if you're watching, it was a good recommendation. We didn't have the orange juice, but
probably should have cut it with the orange juice, Worth. You were right. That sneaks up on you. And
Yeah.
it definitely snuck up on me. I'll be the first to admit.
You got a few people.
Yep.
So, Rats, I don't know if you heard, you were supposed to be with Hemi,
Right.
but he had some medical issues, so he can't join us. But we're hoping for a speedy recovery for him, and we'll hopefully get together and hang out sooner than later, though.
Yeah, get well.
Yep.
There you go. Cool. Well, we can jump in. All right, we got another guest joining us, and whenever he jumps in, we'll just flow with it. But like Mike, kind of what have you been up to after our season? Like, what'd you do after high school, and what are you doing now?
Right. So that year, right, the state championship year, I was junior. Like you, Bill.
Yep.
Next year, obviously, we finished out our senior year at McKeesport. Then I went on to college to Mercyhurst College at the time.
Yes.
Football. Didn't really work out for me, so left there and actually came back home for a bit, and then finally bounced on to IUP, and then I ended up working I have now. So
yeah. You might have had somebody at IUP that kind of worked out for you too.
Yeah, I met a port girl actually. So so I got married. AKA for Sharon.
Yeah.
Fish.
We met up. Well, we met actually in high school. I carried that through to college, and she actually, was at IUP at the same time. So kind of worked out for me.
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
For sure.
I'd say that's a win right there.
Right.
Yep. And where are you working now? You said you had the same job. What are you doing?
Yeah. So when I got home, did nice. I like it. Way to rep.
Little plug.
Yeah, my family business. My dad started a business called Level Green Plumbing and Heating. Basically started at the bottom, way up through. Now my retired, and I'm running that family business. So
right.
Right.
So shout out to Level Green for all your plumbing, heating, HVAC needs. You can call them at 412-5544.
Cool.
Nice. Also, right now you can go vote for them on Trib Live's Westmoreland's Best of the Best. Voting ends on Sunday, October 6th. So you got to get out as soon as this drops. Everybody watch this video and go out and vote. I'm going to try to link
the
plug on there. Yeah. So I'll try to put a link on this video. I'm trying to get a little better at our technical aspects of the show. So I'll try to put a link right in here so people can click on it and go right to the website and vote for your Rats.
Sweet. So, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
And perfect timing. Our second guest just logged in. So we'll welcome you as well, Casey.
Yes. Welcome to Casey. We got Casey Holtzman here with us from our 1994 state championship team, number 10, fullback.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is my head on the screen or am I cut off? Because you know what I mean?
No, you're good.
Let's not tell him. Let's wait till he has to watch it. Let's not tell him.
All right.
Nah, you're perfect. We won't do that to you. You're perfect.
So, Case, we were just talking to Rats about what he's been up to. What have you been up to since you graduated high school, and what are you up to now?
All right. So after graduation, went on to IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Played 2 years of football there. Second year, got a concussion pretty bad, so hung it up. Studied computer science, went on with an internship at U.S. Steel in their IT department, kind of stuck there ever since. Got my master's at University of Pittsburgh. Been at U.S. Steel for about a little over 24 years now. Got married,
awesome.
Have kids, have a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old. So,
yeah. Keep busy.
Nice.
Doing a little bit of everything.
Now, let me get this straight, though. Did you marry a McKeesport girl as well?
I did. Kristen
This is
Pushkar.
this is like a theme here. I feel like I'm starting to get outnumbered from our guests here. But I need to. If there's any '94 state champion that married somebody other than a McKeesport girl, please get in touch with us. We need you on the show. I mean, I'm starting to feel a little alone here.
I think you're going to be in the minority.
Definitely.
Yes.
Everybody sticks to the roots. So that brings me sticking to your roots. Like, what do you guys feel growing up in McKeesport? Talking about that, like, what do you think? Growing up in McKeesport, how did that help you later in life? Like, what kind of things do you think, like, or that pride or that sense, like, what did that bring to either going to college or your jobs or things like that? What do you think of?
Go ahead, Jude.
I think just the work ethic, right? The hard work. If something I remember, right, at football practices, they were hard, right? I mean, a lot of hitting. I mean, you were running, you weren't getting a lot of water. And I go to IUP, and the first thing we do at the end of practice, we're running, and people just sit down, start drinking water, and it's like, this is crazy. But I walked on there, right? It was the seventh fullback the first day, and then people got hurt. By like day 3 or 4, I was the last man standing. So that's how I got my opportunity. I think it was just
awesome.
Growing up with a good work ethic.
Yeah, persevering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'll have to double down on that. I mean, what we did as a team, and the work ethic and the bond, was something that I don't think anybody could ever take away from any one of us that was on that team, right? I mean, the blend, the intensity, the comedy, actually, kept us going. I mean, it was just a great blend of guys that, everybody had each other's. It didn't matter what group you were in or, what clique you were in or whatever. Like when we got on that field, it just felt like it was like meant to be. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the community, I think, really, like, our team epitomized the community of McKeesport, right? So, like, I mean, it's such a blended community, well-rounded, and everybody just, I mean, you remember the games, right? I mean, everybody showed out for McKeesport football games. I mean, it's still that way, right? It's like, you don't really see that anymore, but I mean, McKeesport is very unique in that McKeesport football is life, and I mean, I think that just epitomizes the town and the area where we grew up.
I feel like
well said.
We talked like earlier on one of our earlier episodes about like favorite football movies and things like that, and I feel like our life could be like a movie. Like I feel like it's almost movie-esque. Like our team, like the characters we had, like there could be such like crazy actors that would play like the people on our team and stuff like that. Just like the town was just like a steel mill town and stuff. I mean, I just feel like it's something right out of the movie. It was meant to be kind of thing.
Yeah, I think definitely you should definitely try to get a movie out of this. You know what I mean? Yes. We should definitely do.
Yeah, I'll start working with all my connections that I have. I'll try to get a movie deal. I'll try to see what I can do. Let's see. My wife knows Joe Manganiello from Mount Lebanon, so maybe we can get him to do something. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else. That's all. I
got nothing at all.
That's all.
I mean, there were so many characters. Like, I mean, Dino Malice never, the whole season, he wore the same shirt under his pads, never washed it because it was good luck.
Yeah. It was like deteriorating too.
Yeah, it was like just falling apart by the end. Like guys had their rituals before and after games. I mean, I just like the dog pound doing what they were doing. And Case, you're the only sophomore that started.
Super sophomore.
I mean, what was it? Like, what were you thinking?
It was like a dream. I mean, it was like mesmerizing seeing all these guys out there. I mean, I feel like the senior class and everybody, they were like professional football players on a high school field. Like they were just larger than life to me. Like seeing like Bill G, Brandon Shore, Russell Wilson. I mean, these guys were, I don't know. I was just amazed half the time being out there, just being on the field with them. But at the same time, being a sophomore, right? So I was with the sophomores, and I have so many sophomore stories that year. There's some characters on the sophomore group there for sure.
Cleaning up the fields and everything.
Oh yeah.
Even though you were starting, you still had to earn your stripes. You still had to do all the crap jobs that sophomores did.
That's right.
As part of the rite of passage.
First one's on the field to set it up. Last one's off the field to clean it up. And then,
right.
Yeah, you talk about rituals, right? Like, you know, I said earlier, I went to Mercier's, and, you know, Bob Eastman, Beast, right?
Yeah.
Went there, you know, obviously the year before me, and was kind of like my mentor, and as like when I decided to go there. And, you know, I mean, you guys remember his ritual, right? I mean, he puked.
Yeah.
He puked before every game. Like, I mean, it was like, he was like scary puking. You know what I mean? Like, but it was like, is it like you'd go in the locker room and you'd be like, yo, is this guy actually going to be able to play? You know? And it was just this thing. Like, after the first 2 games, you were just like, oh, that's just what he does, you know? Yeah. And I feel like everybody like had like a thing, you know what I mean? But everybody had like everybody else's back, you know what I mean? So it was definitely a great experience.
Well, that's what, like you were saying, like after the first 2 games, we were like, what is this guy doing? Like after games like 8, 9, and 10, we're like, hey, did Eastman puke yet? Are we good? Like, you know, like it's like part of the ritual. It's part of the like the pregame warm-ups. Like,
yeah, like if he didn't puke, we were like, oh, we're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, so it was like, oh, Eastman, make sure you get a puke, and then we good, you know?
So we give him some.
Good now. All right, now we can go out and take the field. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Make him throw it, please.
Right. Yeah, just crazy. Like, did you guys have ritual? Did you guys do anything special pre-game?
I can't say I did.
I mean, I think basically, like, you know, me being a junior, you know, I didn't start, you know, and I had a tight end in front of me, and his name was Ed Stockett. Shout out to Ed, number 86. He was an animal.
Yes.
And, you know, our thing was like, you know, all throughout, you know, practices where we were scout teaming for defense, like, you know, we went against, like, I mean, arguably one of the best defensive players I think I've ever seen in my life, you know, which was number 43, Roger Wilson. Right. So our thing was like, you know, making sure Rod didn't hurt one of us before, you know what I mean? So, because he was just like so amped up, and that was just like our thing. It was like me and Ed would be like, hey, Raj, like, chill, man, relax. You know, it was because he was like just on a completely different level pregame than probably like that we were, you know what I mean? So
I remember him walking around with those headphones on, like whistling a Wild West tune. It's getting ready to pull people.
Yes.
Speaking of pregame, like, how crazy is McKeesport's pregame at their home right now? Like, how they go and do, like, Oklahoma's like right there, like they go like right at, like, I mean, it's intense. Like, I see it on Twitter. Like, I follow them on there, and like their home games. Do you see that? Can you imagine being a team coming in and just seeing these guys going at it full speed like that? Man.
Yeah, and just animals.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
I'm glad we didn't do that back when we played, because I would not want to see, like, I want to be able to get called Liberator. Go hit Brandon. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
This will not be very impressive. Like, this will not last. Not that.
I mean, and we've been touching on a lot of them. I mean, the whole time we kind of been talking about memories. But is there, besides the state championship game, because like I said, everybody has a great memory of state championship game. It's going to stick out to you. But is there like one memory or one thing that you guys remember about that season that really sticks out for you, or maybe something we haven't talked about or even thought about in years?
I mean, the whole thing was just a big whirlwind for me, right? Like, it was like culmination of just a brotherhood of, you know, like I said earlier, like comedy. And like, I remember home camp or away camp, and it was like, I think away camp that year, like, I think it was like Martin Lawrence. Was it Martin Lawrence or one of those like comedians like dropped like this stand-up act? Like, we were all sitting in somebody's room and watching, like, and everybody was just laughing, and we were just having a good time. And like, we laughed through pain, you know what I mean? Like, we made, like, we had each other's back. Like, I think I listened to one of the podcasts earlier. I think Worth and it was talking about like the hills that year. And I remember like everybody like, oh, well, we're not, like them guys were like, we're not done. We're not leaving. I'm like, what? Like we just ran like how many hills, right? And it was like, that epitomizes the whole season. It was just like, there was no quit. There was no like nobody gave up on each other. It was such a like a brotherhood. Like it was like there was no like single person that was worried about themselves. Like, and I feel like now, like I watch sports and like even high school sports, and it's so geared towards individualism. You know what I mean? And I feel like that team just was the gold standard for team. Like there was like, you know what I mean? Like there was it didn't matter if you were the best player on the field or you were the worst player, like, or you played scout team or whatever. Like everybody had a part, you know what I mean? And that's what I feel like that made that team so special. You know?
Yeah, I think I could like reflect back on like we had Kiro on, and he talked about like being role players, and same with Sayon, and like both Bill and I were like, you're talking about being role players. Like we looked at you guys, like you guys were the beast of this team, and they're talking about just being role players. Like we just did our part to win. You know, there was no I. And it's just like it's so humbling to hear those guys say that, because I think back when we're playing, like. Yeah, I'm not starting receiver. I'm in and out against Tut and like whoever, and it's like we're just rotating through. It's like whoever had a good week, you're in. Whoever had a bad week, you're not playing. So it's like you did, whatever. You're just playing, and like you'd watch those guys, and you're like, these are the stars of the team. You know, like these are the stars, like our deep backs, our running backs, quarterback, running back. You know, like these guys are and we're just there. But like to hear them say that they felt that same way, I think that's just crazy. Like like to me, it's just nuts that I never thought like in the midst of it. I never thought like that they would think they were just a part of the team too, because they stood out so much. They just hit so hard. They were so incredible to watch that you wouldn't think that they would have such a level head, and they do. And just hearing them talk about that, I think that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Like I jumped in on and listened to a couple of podcasts previous, and like I heard Worth talking about Drew, like, and just be like, Drew was so worried about being like good. Like, and he was like, so like you said, level headed, and just like it was like it didn't matter. He scored 2 or 3 touchdowns a game, like by like the 6th game or whatever. He was still thinking, like, he was still worried about everybody else, you know what I mean? Like, so that just tells you why that team was so good, you know what I mean? And yeah, definitely a special, just could be a movie, like you said.
Yeah,
definitely with the I don't know if you guys are coming home from the away games, like after a victory, you turn by like Sparkle Car Wash or something, start coming up, people just start chanting like, "We are the Tigers, couldn't be prouder." It's just pride that everybody had on that team. I mean, it's crazy. Make sure you get that in the movie later.
Right.
Yeah, we'll put that. We'll make sure that's in there. All right, hold on. Let me write that down. Make sure add that to the script. Make sure that gets cut. So you talk about like
everything, like you said, everything, just guys hanging out, bonding, clowning, whatever. We were just like a brotherhood.
I mean, like to me, like you talk about memories, like I remember like me and you rode to home camp every morning together, right? And like it was just like that grind, right? Like we wake up, like your head would be pounding for how many days. Your forehead's just hurting because you just so much, right? Like your forehead's permanently red, and like we still did it. Like we still woke up every morning because like I knew you were coming, or I was coming to your house to pick you up, or we were going to pick up Chafe or whoever. Like, and it was just like we had each other's, you know what I mean? And there was internal groups within the team that each that had each other's backs, like, but there was also a whole that had each other's backs too. So it was just a great culmination of guys that were all together for one thing, and we just wanted to have a good time, play football, and we wrote it out. Like, I mean, it won everything won every game, and it was crazy.
You talk about like guys having their back. Like, of course, in high school, that's awesome. It's like you can go to a party, you see somebody on the football team, like, yeah, they got your back if you're there. If you get into a fight, they got your back. But like, I think it's still amazing. Like to this day, is when I talked about this. Like we go down to Cal's to watch the TJ McKeesport game every year. We go down there, we go to drink, and we'll always see somebody there. We'll see Worth, we'll see Kiro, we'll see people, we'll see Paris Armstrong, we'll see different people from like the team, and it's just like picking up like old times. It's like walking to a party in high school. Like it's like that bond hasn't left. Like you still get a hug, you still get a tap up.
Right.
You know they have your back. That if somebody's going to mess with you, like because you might not belong in this bar because you don't live here anymore, or you're not from around, or if people don't know, like why are you here? They got your back. They're right. You're not worried about like I'm not worried about going to Cal's and somebody messing with me because I know there's guys that are there that know us that have our back. Still like to this day 30 years later.
Yeah,
right.
Being a sophomore, I could add one more story in here. So the two starting fullbacks go down. I'm a third string quarterback or something, get thrown into fullback, right, playing, feeling out of place, walking around the halls and like see Droop or somebody and they're like, hey, what's up? And it's like, hey, you're a starting running back. They were just good people. I mean, they didn't think that they were too good for anybody else. They were just good people.
And I think we had a lot of great athletes, but we had a lot of great people too. And a lot of our great athletes were great people, so it trickled down, which worked out really well in the long run.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on something like, we talk about like, at that time, right? You enjoy the moment because that was like the thing, right? Like we won the state championship, like you said, Bill. Like everybody has a memory of that day that we won the state championship, but like you really don't like what we're reflecting on now. You really don't think about that kind of stuff until like you get older. And I was thinking about this the other day because, like I said, I just had a big event. My son got married, blah blah blah. It's kind of like raising children, right? Like when you're younger, you raise children. You're in the moment. You're trying to just be a parent. You don't really like reflect on anything, and while you're in the moment, right? But as you get older and you look back at stuff, that's when you realize how special it was, right? And that's kind of how I look at that season. It's kind of like raising kids, right? It's kind of like, it was a huge event in your life that while you were there, it was great because you were with your boys and your brothers and everybody was at each other's back and, whatnot. But as you get older, like 30 years later, you look back and you're like, that was a really special part of your life. You know what I mean? So that's my sentimental moment right now.
No, I get you. And the piggyback on what you were saying is like right after we won, I had one of these old timers, great guy, he's talking to me. He's like, hey, this is something, you're never going to forget. This is something that's going to be with you the rest of your life. You guys are state champs. And at the time, it was really nice that he was talking to me, and he talked to me for like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, but I got another year of high school left. We're going to go to college. And I'm like, it'll be like, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
And now here we are 3 years later, and they're having this nice, anniversary party for us. So it is something that's going to stick with us forever. It's something that we accomplished and something we're all proud of. Speaking of which, are you guys going Friday tonight to the 30th reunion?
I am not signed up.
I will be there. Yep.
All right. Case?
Hopefully after the Jack's after party, maybe.
Yeah.
It needs to be a break this year. It's old Isbury. we need a real Isbury so that he makes it to the reunion tonight.
That's like, like an inside thing, right? Or wait, you released that on a previous podcast, didn't you?
This week it was out there. So
is it out? Okay. Yeah.
212 people know about it now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not make it, but I wish you well.
Thank you. My wife said she's getting me out of there by 3:00.
Perfect.
So I should be
at 9 though. He's starting at 9, so like that's not an accomplishment to say she's getting him out by 3. I'm just going to put it out there.
Maybe 3:30.
Yeah. It'll be like me driving to the airport on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, how did that feel waking up at like 4? I woke up at 4:40, I think, Case, or 5. Actually, we woke up at 5:40 because we got like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So I think I went to
That
bed
was
at
not
2 and got up at 5:30.
Oh,
So
yeah.
needless.
Case, I have your sunglasses for you, by the way.
Keep them. They're $3.
I would have rather been on the beach, I tell you that. But
Yeah.
Yes, it's a great beach day. Great
Speaking
beach
of
day.
sunglasses, did I give you your sunglasses back, Ismer?
You did, and I have Josh's too, which I have to give you. So it all worked itself out.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good 2 day. It was a good weekend or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You see my wife tell her it rained on Saturday all day long.
Okay. And to set the scene for this outdoor wedding that happened, we wake up about, this is just from my house, my perspective. We wake up about 8 a.m. and our house is shaking from the wind. Rain's blowing sideways. Like, man, this sucks. There's no way this wedding is going to happen outside. And then by like 1 o'clock, sun's out. There's a gentle breeze. Everything's dried up. And the show went on as according to plan.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Only God's plan. You know what I mean? Like it definitely, and to reflect on that, like we were in North Carolina for my son's wedding and, there was hurricane, I believe it's called Helene, right? Helene?
Sounds like
yeah. And, for probably a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to that, like, my son and his fiance are watching this, field and they're talking about it. And, I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. Like it's going to happen. Like you just have to embrace whatever happens. Right. And it just all worked out for them. And I was so happy for them that it worked out, the way it did. But yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was definitely shaky.
the house was shaking. The winds were blowing sideways. Rain was coming in from all directions. It's like, man,
I've never seen something like that. We've been to the beach like so many years and never seen something that intense. Like that one point. There was one point because McKay was at our house for a hot minute and then walked home. And like as soon as he left, this rain came down sideways and like we were out on the porch because it was screened in. I mean, you couldn't see. Like it was like blankets coming by, and I'm like, Anne's like, you should probably go drive and go pick him up and see where he is. I was like, I don't want to get my car wet. Are you crazy?
Well, it's funny. Like when, at that moment, like, was that Friday, right? Was that Friday? Yeah.
Morning. Yeah.
Yeah. In the morning, like all the groomsmen are at our house and we're getting ready. And, somebody comes in, I think it was my brother-in-law, and he goes, it's pouring outside. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, it's like I'm like, being like sarcastic. Like, really? Like you can't hear it? You know what I mean? And he goes, yeah, I just drove by McCabe and he's like, he's soaking wet. And I asked him if he wanted to ride, and he's like, at this point, it really doesn't. You know what I mean? So it was kind of comical. So
they picked a good time to take a walk. Yeah. But it all worked out. Like you said, divine intervention, whatever, it all worked out and it was perfect. So
yep.
So speaking of your son, Rats, so you had a son go to college, play for sports. What advice could you give parents who have like high school sports age kids that they're athletes making that leap to that next level? Since out of us, you're kind of the experienced guy.
Yeah. So my son played basketball. He played football for a couple of years, like middle school age, but never really loved football. So he kind of dove into that basketball. I mean, he's like 6'3", sort of tall kid. I tell kids all the time, like, look, or tell parents that, just tell your kid to stay in their lane. You know what I mean? Like, there's good. When you go to the next level, it doesn't matter what what comes after the D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Statistic that, how many kids actually go Division I to play a sport is like 4%. It's astronomical, right? I mean, at the end game is right. You need to get an education. So education should be number one. And that's kind of what I instilled in him, and he got a good education, played a sport for 4 years in college, did his thing, didn't love it the whole time, but, at the next level, it is a job,
Right.
and you do have to love it, to do it. It's 5 a.m. lifting and running when everybody else is sleeping after a party. It's, it's a commitment that I feel like, you guys had talked about this on other podcasts. Like, I don't feel like the kids nowadays in sports get that dedication and that we got with that football 30 years ago, 29 years ago, when Bill and I graduated. Like, that was a complete, like, that commitment was just off the charts. You know what I mean? So, I would say just stay in your lane, basically,
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's also a business. Like, I mean, it's like they have to realize now with college, I mean, it's a business. So when you go play there, it's not the same thing it's going to be like in high school. It's not like the coaches are loving you. It's not like you're having that relationship because you are replaceable by whatever's coming in that's going to make the college the money, like, so it's like,
right.
It's a hard pill to swallow too. Like, I know just from our neighbors that have had kids that have gone on to play and just had some bad experiences in college sports, girls soccer, lacrosse, different kind of things like that.
My nephew's going through it right now. I mean, he plays football for Montour, and he's getting recruited right now for a couple teams, and and I try to instill in him too. Like, look, if you love the game and you want to play the game, like, go somewhere where you're going to get a good education and be able to, you know what I mean? Don't just go because it's the thing to do,
Right.
And speaking of which, I think McKeesport's actually playing they're playing West Mifflin tonight, but
West Mifflin this week.
Next week they're playing Mars, right? My nephew played Mars 2 weeks ago, and I think McKeesport definitely beat that. Definitely. Because we were at the game. So
shout out to your nephew Caleb Platts too.
Yeah.
Check him out on Huddle.
Yeah.
For his highlights.
Yeah. He's actually I think he's going for a visit up to Colgate in a couple of weeks, maybe in 2 weeks, Jamie told me, where my brother went to Colgate. So I'm going to try to make a connection there for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would love that.
Colgate was a great school. It was a fun school to visit.
Yeah.
We went there a couple of times in college. That's a pretty cool campus up there. It was cold.
Where's Colgate? Is that New York?
Yeah. Like upstate New York.
Okay.
Like
Syracuse or
Ithaca, somewhere like up that way.
Okay.
I don't know. I just could be totally making that. I could be totally
Somewhere up there.
Those are my college years.
Somewhere north.
So speaking of, they're playing West Mifflin this week. So they whooped up on Hampton last week. Finally, like big win, 54-7. You caught that. So check out this stat line from last week. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter or not, but so Spell and Cromartie, the running backs, combined for just 6 carries, but totaled 287 yards and 5 touchdowns.
What?
3 carries each. And they had that many yards. Like, the runs were like 95, 65, like ridiculous big old runs they just broke off on. That just reminds me of like some of our highlight film of those big runs that you just see like Troop or were just like breaking tackles and just these huge runs and stuff like that. Right. So they put it on last week. I hope they do that again against West Mifflin.
Yes. Not against Sayon's kid, though.
Yes. Sayon's kid.
Yeah, we're for your kid, too.
Yeah, you can get a couple tackles, here and there, just as long as McKeesport wins, but as long as he has a good game, too. We'll be good sports.
Exactly.
What does his kid play? What position?
I think he's a defensive end, he said, or outside linebacker. I think it's number 51, if I remember correct.
Yeah.
I'll be watching.
So, yeah.
Definitely be watching.
I mean, as long as the Port wins, he can have 100 tackles. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a record game as long as they lose.
Right. Will you guys be going to the Crow's Nest after as well?
I am not.
I don't know. I asked Casey if he was going to be there, and um,
Casey's real non-committal. He was supposed to stay an extra day in
Yeah.
North Carolina too. We tried to trick him into that. He wouldn't do that.
right.
No one texted
But I
me
think you can be
told me my
persuaded.
flight was delayed. Somebody was
I
supposed
think
to
you
text me.
be persuaded when he's in the port, though.
Right. The
Yeah, I
board
think-
has a way of getting to you, right? I mean, there's a lot of arm twisting that's going to go on. I'm
It
sure
is.
they're going to. Once Glenn gets his hands on you, I mean, he's going to get you down there. So.
You get a little wild eye in you, and you're not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have that on the sidelines, so but
That's
watch
true.
out.
You might not even know how to get home.
Yeah. Rats, you got to go down, man. That's the old McKeesport Marina. We need to get like a picture down there.
Right. We should.
Yeah.
Do you still have your old shirts from down there, guys?
I was just going to say.
Oh man, I don't think so. Yeah.
I'm sure you
Okay, is your sister going?
I have no idea. I doubt it. It's
Okay, because she worked down there with us too.
at the marina. Pumping gas.
What's that?
Pumping gas at the marina.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they worked down there.
Yeah. That was a good year. We had a good time.
We did. And I know this is going to drop early, before the game starts. I talked to Charlie Kiss, just a kind of public service announcement that the cheerleaders are also included in the celebrations. Of any cheerleaders are tuning in and you want to come down and hang out on the sidelines and catch up with us and with your cheer squads, you guys are welcome as well. So hope this gets out to you guys before the game starts.
So make sure you hopefully watch us away with the 540.
Yes. And head down.
It's time to get down to the game.
But I feel like I have this like light thing going on, almost like had like this weird light thing going on behind him.
See if you can do like the peace love thing that he did. See if
Yeah.
you can make the thing. I don't know what he did. I don't know how he did that, but that was amazing. Whatever.
Laser light show. So this next question's kind of gotten kind of a cult following. Do you guys have he might be before your time, Case, but do you guys have a Frank Connick story or something that you remember about Frank Conn that you want to put on the record?
I got one.
Y'all and Case.
I got one. So I think that was back in my days as a water boy from McKeesport. And I remember him running off the field, and I'm sitting there holding a bottle of water. And he looks at me with this crazy look and goes, "That guy bit me out there. That guy bit me." And I looked at him. I said, cake mix. And I'm just like, here's water. It's my Frank Conn story. That, and I remember riding in a car with him, going from where were we at? 48 to Lincoln, or to White Oak Athletic Association. What is that strip? Is that Lower Heckman, or is that what is that road?
Yeah.
By Napa. And we may have got close to 100 on that.
At
It was
100?
going, yeah, it was going. He was
Yeah.
going pretty good. But those are my two stories.
That sounds about. That's
I
good.
feel like that is Frank Conn to a T because I feel like he goes 100 miles per hour no matter what he does.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Casey's-
I mean, Frank Conn stories. I think I'm gonna like double down on what Tut said. Like, I have a bunch of Frank Conn stories that probably are not like podcast safe.
Yeah, it's PG-13
Yeah, we
podcast.
might get shut down. We don't want to get shut down.
But I do think that I remember, like, it's funny, like, it's been 30 years and I've talked to like so many people, like, oh, you're from McKeesport, like, oh, McKeesport. Oh, did you play football? Yeah, I played football. Were you on the team with that nose tackle? And I'm like, who? Mark Steele? And they're like, no, his name was something different, like, I'm like, maybe D Diggs, or like, because you remember, like, right, D Diggs was supposed to be in,
Yeah.
so they're like, no, it was the guy's, I think his name was like Frank or something. I'm like, oh, you mean Frank Connick? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that, like, he played before that team. And they're like, oh my gosh, that guy was amazing. Like, there's like, I'm talking about like different communities where, whether it was like, it didn't matter where it was, like, people have said like that guy was a phenom, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, to not give him any disrespect, I mean, he was a freak athlete. I mean, he was just, I mean, you guys can all attest to that, right? I mean, you watch, I think of my sophomore year, you know, the stuff that he did was just crazy. Like he was, when he wanted to make a play, he'd make a play, you know?
Yeah.
And he was definitely, I mean, could have went to the league, right? I mean, I think, you know, other podcast people have said like that dude could have been in the league, you know?
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, just an absolute freak of an athlete.
yep.
So maybe we'll get him on one day. Hopefully, he can tell us his own stories.
I'm sure they'll be good.
Yes, without a doubt.
Oh, I do remember one though. Like I think it was sophomore year. Remember how we used to have to be at the stadium like whatever 2 hours before the home game or whatever it was. Like I remember like we'd go get taped by you know, the trainers or whatever, and everybody would be standing outside with their pants on and stuff. And like I remember Coach Smith saying like, "Where's Frank Conn?" You know, and he wasn't there. Like, and it was like, you know, maybe an hour before the game. And I just remember like seeing this like a crotch rocket ninja or whatever motorcycle come flying into the parking lot of the stadium, like doing a wheelie, you know, like 60 miles an hour. And it was Frank Conn. You know what I mean? That's just how he rolled. Like he had like a grand entrance.
Yes.
Movie. Definitely in the movie.
He'll definitely be in the flash. He'll definitely be
Right.
Right.
Nice. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Thanks for having us.
Before we leave, I put this on. This is get ready for a reunion here.
Oh, wow.
Should have got mine out
Nice.
in my closet.
This one, there we go.
Man, I had to take it out, huh?
Yeah. Are you wearing that tonight?
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely. Well, it depends on the weather. We'll see. I'll keep it. I'll have it in the car.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 days. It's just for the weather change. We'll see.
Right.
Well, I look forward to seeing you guys. Look forward to catching up some more and having a few cocktails with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see you at the Crow's Nest, Casey.
We'll go.
Peer pressure.
We need a ride, Casey, so you got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need Uber.
Yeah.
We need Uber.
Sounds like Bill may need a ride.
I'll probably be right there.
I know I'm not driving back to South Bend. I'm definitely going to be crashing.
Yes. Cool. Well, again, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And tune in 544.
Yep. Cheers. Cheers to 30 years,
Thanks.
guys.
Here's the 30 years.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go, Lee. That's good beer.
Mike, I don't think the
Yeah, well, I'll stick to the bourbon though.
Little guys.